All righty, good morning. And we are live. We're going to be coming to you through both the KDKA and we'll be streaming live on Facebook, the NutriMost USA page. And good morning. I am Dr. Ray, and we will be joining with you some. I tell you what, I woke up this morning. Recently I always give you that what my sunrise looks like. And I got out a little bit later. It wasn't as a beautiful sunrise, but boy, was it an odd day. I couldn't capture it all. And just welcome here from Pittsburgh, the center of the universe. I just love it here. By the way, I just got back from a one-day trip to New York City. I'll talk about that today. We have a lot to go over on today's program. We're waiting for KDKA. We'll be joining them in just a little bit. But when I talk about the odd day today, it was there was a beautiful sunrise, but it was all foggy. And you can't tell. I'm up on a hill, and so below that in the valley, it goes down into this valley, was all foggy, and then the ground was all frost. So it was frost, it was fog, it was a beautiful sunrise. So we got some exciting stuff to bring you today. And it's interesting. I'm looking my head sort of cut off a little bit on this, so we're gonna have to raise up we're gonna have to raise this up just a little bit. Some of the things we're gonna go over. Let me just and one of the things I want to talk about is that every single Thursday we do the most significant research and news. And this past Thursday, we talked about how you affect insulin resistance. We talked about some of the things that are really dramatic as far as that goes. And, that's going to be every single, let me just put that on here. I was thinking I was here. And that's going to be every single Thursday at 12 noon. And you can go back into the NutriMost, the USA Facebook page, and you can see with those and just watch that. Today we have some great stuff as well. But some of the things that I want to review is really the fact that what we've been doing, where we're at. I told you I was at, and I'm taking a look at all the stuff we're going to have here today. Let me just see what I was going to put down. Oh, one really, really big thing. And I was really instrumental in making sure that this happened today, because our Black Friday, it's usually just Friday, and then we go through Cyber Monday. And it was overwhelming, the amount of response. And so our team said, well, let's carry it over. And they were going to go to Wednesday. And I said, wait a second. I'm on the radio on Saturday. The people who actually listen to us, the people who are the most that are great with us, that pay attention, love us. I like them. I want to reward them. We're not going to cut it off before the Friday program. So I said, if there's going to be a time, we're going to extend it, and that's going to be through Saturday. And that's Saturday, which is today. Today is your very, very last chance. So it does say there through November 27th. It's through today for you guys. So it goes December 2nd. It is the very last chance. So we're going to wait for KDKA to join us today. I'm going to talk about meeting the president of CBT, who's the president of Creative Broadcast Technology. He's a broadcast executive. His name's Ken Agard, and he's look up Gaard, and Ken's just a legend in the field. And so here we come. Looks like KDK is getting ready to join us in a little bit. Remember, for that Black Friday, all you have to do is give us a call, and that number is 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466, or you can schedule online at NutriMost.com. And remember, you can just call in. They'll get you, it's 25% off or 35% off if you have done the program already that second time through. Okay, we're going to KDKA right now.
Dr. Ray. The following information is paid for by NutriMost Weight Loss Centers and is intended solely to further the public's general knowledge about weight loss programs.
KDKA Radio does not guarantee the accuracy of any information aired in this program. Individual problems or questions concerning weight loss programs should always be referred to your healthcare professional.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
All right, folks, our get-together on a Saturday rolls on now. It's time for Dr. Ray Wisniewski, NutriMost.com, 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466. And he's right now to begin this hour from his NutriMost studios. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Rob. I tell you what, I'm excited to be here today. And it's I just got back from, I was in New York for a one-day trip. So it was a really quick one-day trip. I had to, I did some filming and I did some taping there. I met with a legend in broadcast, actually. His name's Ken Agard. He's the president of CBT, which is Creative Broadcast Technology. He's in this Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. He's done a number of, any major event he's done. In fact, he was, I had to go yesterday for one day on, well, it was actually Thursday is when I I left there and got there, came back yesterday. And I went up because he was going to the, flying out yesterday to go to the Paris for the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, because they do the, he's a consultant for anything creative broadcast technology for any of the networks. So it's a broadcast network. He's in the, like I said, and he did the program, but what's interesting about doing our program, he talked about all the different things that improved with him. And he just went on and on and on. But the one thing that was amazing, and he just said, you know, hey, there's nothing like this program. I've done every single thing. And it was when we were walking, there were some other executives, and he would talk to one person, and then they said, yeah, you did that, Mary did that program. And he said, oh, really? He did. He says, she did NutriMost. And they said, yeah. And he said, well, wow, how'd they hear about it? She goes, well, Mary saw this person. That person saw this person that did the program. And that person came from you because you referred them. He goes, so in other words, I referred Mary without even knowing it. He says, that's the way this program works. He says, I know personally, I know over 100 people that I have referred. He says 100 people, and one of those people were JB, James Brown, that we see every Sunday morning. But it was interesting that how many other people, and that's what he said. He says that's like he ran into somebody and they came up to him and said, hey, thank you for, you changed my life. And he said, he didn't even know them. And he said they knew his brother, and his brother had, they saw that, when his brother saw him lose weight, his brother lost weight. He did our program. And he says, it just keeps mushrooming. There's just so many people on this. He says, and that's what makes it so unique and so different. And so that's what I want to share with everybody. And today's a special day because, Rob, you know, one of the things that we talked about was we had our Black Friday sale. And our Black Friday goes just Friday, that Friday through Cyber Monday. And my staff said it was overwhelming success, and they said, hey, let's extend it to Tuesday or Wednesday. And I said, if we're going to do that, I'd rather let the people who are great with us, who listen to us on Saturdays, the people who go on Facebook, you can always go to NutriMost USA on Facebook. I said, so we're going to extend that. And so today is the very, very, very last day, and we extend it as a reward and for those people who are just great with us. So if you're listening right now, you can give us a call at 855-688-7466. That's 855-NutriMost, NutriMost, or go online to NutriMost.com, and you will get the Black Friday special. And so that is a very, that's a great deal for that, and I encourage you to do that. It is the very, very last day, and it was extended just because we want to reward those people who listen to this program in particular. So,
all right, listen, when we come back, you're going to meet Danielle. If you want to see what she has done, the transformation, you got to go to the NutriMost Pittsburgh Facebook page. It is incredible. We'll come back. It's Dr. Ray, and it is 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466.
all right, and we will be joining Danielle. He is right when we come back, and you'll be able to. We'll bring up those pictures with Danielle in just a little bit. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the research in the news, and let's see if we can bring up some of that stuff right now. If I can come past that, let's see. Here we have. This is pretty good here, and this is going to be the. It says molecular adaptations of adipose tissues to 6 weeks of morning fasting versus daily breakfast consumption in lean obese adults. You know what? I should talk about this when we come back as well, because this is a huge thing that people do not recognize, do not realize. They don't understand how this affects things. And you know, it's interesting because if you go into this, what this study says is almost exact. I want to say the opposite, except you'll get to see why the research doesn't really understand the things that we're talking about. And what this is talking about is that when you regularly eat breakfast, what happens is it decreases the activity of your genes involved in fat metabolism, and it increases the amount of sugar that they take up. And so when you increase the amount of sugar that you take up, what happens is that you are no longer, let me see this one thing here. You are no longer, you don't have as much risk for diabetes. So they're saying, well, wait a second, you have to make sure that you eat your breakfast. And that's because what will happen is it'll slow down the metabolism of your fat genes. And then it will bring the glucose, this sugar, into the fat. And that's the interesting thing that happens. And I've talked about this before, where people talk about the fact that, you know, they'll come in and they'll be really large. I mean, like really large. My biggest patients ever, over 770 pounds. We'd weigh him on a truck scale. Comes in and he says, "You won't believe this, doc." He says, "As far as my health goes." And I stopped him there and I said, "You're not diabetic." And he says, "You're right. How do you know?" All the doctors are always shocked by that. I said, "No, as long as you can continue to drive the sugar into fat, you're not going to be diabetic. The moment that that's broken, the moment that that stops, that's when you become diabetic." And so I went through that with them. Oh, it looks like we're coming back again.
Uncensored, part of the KDKA Weekend Magazine, with your host, Dr. Ray.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
Life will never be the same. Life is changing.
Dr. Ray, Danielle, moments away, but I want to remind you, get that appointment. Call now. 855-NutriMost, NutriMost, 855-688-7466. Doc, we got another amazing success story, so if you will, welcome our guest, please.
All right, you know, we're going to bring on Danielle. And Danielle did this program remotely with us. There wasn't an office in her area. She's out in, is it Montana, right, Danielle? Are you there?
Yeah, I am, and I am in Montana.
Okay, so Danielle's coming from Montana. She did fantastic. She did do our remote program, which you know, we have offices throughout the country. Rob, there's we're in like 30 of the states. There's a little over 30 states. There's like 20 states that we are not in. We do not have an office, and Danielle was in one of those locations, and she did do the program remotely. So let me bring on Danielle. Danielle, welcome to the program. And can you just take us through a little bit about your program, what your results were, and how that went?
Yes, I would love to. So I started the program about 6 months ago, and I, like Dr. Ray said, I wanted to do it locally, but there was no one, so I went on the website and called the company, and the next thing I knew, I was speaking with Dr. Ray on the weekend. Believe it or not, he always works on the weekend. And then I was talking to the office, and they were taking my credit card payment and helping me get packages in the mail and get started. And it was a really great experience. I loved doing it and being part of the community that the office seemed to give me. I'm at a weight loss total of 66 pounds, and I've dropped a lot of clothes size. One of my favorite things that I just recently discovered is that before I started the program, I was wearing a 2022 pant size and was at the point where they were no longer fitting and I was going to have to buy new clothes. This weekend, I went shopping with my sister, and I bought a size 11, 12 pants and a medium top. Those were sizes to me that I thought I would never be able to obtain myself, and I didn't know how other people were able to wear those sizes. So it's been an incredible journey over the last little bit, and I feel very grateful for everything that I've learned.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, that's fantastic. Have you gone past some people where they give you a little bit of a double take? You know,
all the time. All the time. I'll be at work and I'll be walking down the hallway and people will say, "Oh, I thought you were a different teacher." Or I'll have friends walk by me in the grocery store and have to come back and say, "Danielle, is that you? You look like you lost some weight." And I'm like, "Yeah, just a little bit."
Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up gaining weight? There's always that because moment that we talk about. There's something that sort of triggers you, and you say, "Hey, I got to do something." And can you take us a little bit through that and what you've done previous or anything like that?
Sure, absolutely. So I have been dealing with weight gain in my whole life, and then I realized that I had polycystic ovarian disorder, and they told me that one of the things is that weight gain will be very easy, of course, and weight loss will be more challenging. I went to a lot of different specialists trying to figure out what I needed to do. I went to the nutritionist, and I went to the endocrinologist and looked into my thyroid and all sorts of stuff. And then I had some difficulties with my reproductive organs, and it caused me to gain an additional 10 pounds. And that was it for me, Dr. Ray. It was like, okay, I can either keep gaining weight here or do something about it. And I chose to do something about it and called and made my appointment and have been moving through the process ever since.
Well, I'm glad you did, and you did the one thing. You took action, and that action was that you did make that call. And the nice thing is that you were able to do that despite the fact that you do have PCOS, and a lot of people think that they have a challenge, and if you have that challenge, then you're just headed down this path. There's not an alternative, or there's no hope that you're just going to gain, or you're not going to be able to lose, or it's going to be a lot more difficult to lose than. And that's not to say that it isn't, because of the fact that there are some hormonal changes with that, and that's one of the aspects that we deal with the program. But we're just glad you made that call. So let me ask you, what do you say to that person who listens to us every week? They may have been listening for years, yet they still haven't picked up the phone. They still haven't taken that action like you did, yet they really need to, or it's a program that can help them. What do you say to that person?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I am taking away from this, Dr. Ray, is confidence, not only in how I look, but in the way that I communicate with myself. People will say to me, "I just don't know what's different about you, but you just look so happy." It has made a significant impact in my life in so many different levels. I'm more aware now of the foods to eat, what healthy eating versus not healthy. And like I said before, I thought I knew. I went to all the doctors, and they told me I was doing all of the right things. But there is actually a difference between lean protein and a regular protein like pork. So it was nice to learn that and to gain the confidence in myself and in my eating, and knowing that I could go on vacation and come home the same weight that I was before. Also, the other thing that is so spectacular about this program is the coaching. My coach has become one of my new best friends, and she helped me through so much of this process. Every time that I would call her and be afraid that I would have disappointed her or let her down, she always was so positive and had another way for me to fix the problem. She never was upset about it. The coaching
your
there,
coach
if there's a problem.
Was Sam your coach?
Sam is my coach, yep.
Yeah, Sam's your coach.
But I didn't want to tell everybody that because I don't want everyone to want her, because if I want to do the program again, I still want her to be available.
Okay. Well, she will be. And they take care of everybody.
Sam is my coach.
Well, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, and the other thing, Dr. Ray, that I love is that when Sam wasn't sure, or when she had gone through all the resources that she knew, she could turn to somebody in the office, whether it be one of you doctors or another coach, and get more ideas. And so the solutions were endless. And I got through every complication that I had.
Okay, well, we're glad to hear that. And that's one of the reasons why the program is a professionally supervised program. And thank you for coming on. And again, we'll help you through any challenges that you have. And you did great. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ray.
All righty.
Nice story, Doc. Nice story.
It really is. And I'll tell you what, I did want to say that when we talk about these programs, we have to realize that, not everybody is the same. She did have some health, some challenges. She talked about, she'd gone to the nutritionist, she'd gone to the doctors. They told her, you're doing everything right. It's just not going to work for you. And that's just not the way that it is. There's things that you can do. And that's one of the things about this, And I do have to give our disclaimer. The federal agencies do suggest most people who participate in any weight loss program will lose average of 1 to 2 pounds per week. Testimonials are from actual clients who have completed the program, did not receive any compensation for their endorsements, and there's no guarantee of specific results, and results may vary depending on the program. I do want to remind everybody we do have our 20-pound weight loss guarantee, and the way that works, by the end of the program, if you're not at 20 pounds, at any point during that, we'll either refund a prorated amount of your program fee for your towards your weight loss success. So if you lost 18 out of the 20, then that's 10%. We'll refund that. Or you can just continue through, and the choice is yours. You get it depending on whichever you would prefer. But the thing about this is, Rob, when you take a look at somebody that's had some challenges, that's where our program really, really, really makes a difference. And it's all about bringing the understanding of why our program works versus other programs. And it's having that NutriMost intelligence that's going to determine what are the specific foods. Not just, that's like Danielle, when she started, one of the things was that she said, she was under, they had the dietitians, they had her doctors. They said, you're doing everything right. Your calorie amounts are right. The foods that you're eating are right. Everything is right. And she's like, but it's not working. It's not working. And that happens with so many programs. And you'll hear people, when they come to us, they think that, hey, there's nothing that can help me. And between the technology and then the coaching, and our coaching is second to none. We do have some great coaches. All of our coaches are phenomenal, and it's because we train, and we want that for you. We want your success. So all you have to do is pick up the phone, call 855-NutriMost. That's, 855-688-7466. Or you can visit us online at NutriMost.com. And remember, we do have the Black Friday ends today. We did extend that for our listening audience, and you get a great deal on that, 25% off. If you did the program before, you actually get 35% off. So we give you a little bit for those who have done the program. You can be like Danielle. She lost 66 pounds on the program, and it's really because of the fact that we're able to get to the root cause. We're able to find out, okay, what is the cause of your challenges? What are the things we can do? And like she said, if something's not working, and by the way, we're monitoring that in so many aspects, and we're saying, okay, what do we need to do to get to that solution? And and typically, most people, you hear people every week, Rob, coming on, and they're talking about how easy it is, and how sometimes when you have a challenge, it's not quite that easy. You have to make a couple changes. But here she went through the program twice. She's done 66 pounds, Rob, and she's done. And you see those pictures. She just looks phenomenal. I'm gonna put that back up again. You could go to Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook Live. You can see Danielle, who lost 66 pounds. It's amazing, because when you see that, you realize that it's not just she talked about the confidence, the way she feels. Give us a call, 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466, or NutriMost.com.
All right, we're going to come back much more with Dr. Ray. And again, that number is 855-NutriMost, 855-NutriMost, or 855-688-7466. Now, if you really want to plug in to see what they do firsthand, this is something that has swept the world and continuing to grow. And as you heard, even people are doing it by online. And you heard just a little while ago, Danielle, all the way in Montana, and what it's done for her life. So there's all sorts of different ways to get it done. But you need to make the first step to get the start of getting it done by calling 855-NutriMost. Do it right now. They're standing by. Get your appointment, 855-NutriMost. But again, very interactive website, NutriMost.com, NutriMost.com, 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466.
Okay, while we wait for to be joined again by KDKA, I'm going to go continue on with really talking about the fact that, and I talked about this this whole bit about understanding, and we'll take a look at some of the. Here it is here. I wanted to bring that back again. We're understanding what the research means. And this was about, when they compared this, and they looked at, when they did this, and this was with the molecular adaptations of adipose tissue, 6 weeks of morning fasting versus daily breakfast. And they're comparing going to breakfast and not going to breakfast. One of the things, I want to bring this up, is that our program has many different factors. We have many different phases. So with one phase, you're not eating breakfast. Then you bring breakfast back in. One of the reasons, and see, this is a very important aspect of this. You have to understand what breakfast does and what happens when you're not, when you don't eat breakfast. See, because here's the thing. When your breakfast contains carbohydrates, and that's what they did on this program, by the way. And they even say that they don't know if they would have had the same results if they would have been using, proteins or fats, but they use carbohydrates. And when you're using carbohydrates, there's a couple things that happens, because you direct that AMP, activated protein kinase pathway, towards glucose metabolism. So it's going into sugar burning, which really it messes you up, because what happens is that raises insulin, that lowers growth hormone, that causes all kinds of other triggers, because when you raise both insulin and cortisol levels, one of the factors that happens is you actually increase the creation of new empty fat cells. So you actually make it so the body can even make more fat cells. And when there's no breakfast, and when breakfast is primarily good, healthy proteins, what happens is you elevate the cortisol without the insulin, and that acts totally different, because now what happens is the cortisol triggers the breakdown of triglycerides. So in other words, it triggers fat burning, and it accelerates fat burning. And so that's one of the things. If anyone ever has a high, if you have high triglycerides, what we're going to do is we're going to start you, make sure those first morning meals, you're going to be using good, healthy oils, particularly coconut oil. Coconut oil is going to be great for this. Now, our program, the whole idea is to get you leptin resistant. And so it's not that you always want to always eliminate breakfast. And you have to realize it's going to act differently if you're leptin resistant versus if you are leptin sensitive. And that's a really big thing. And so when you start to take a look at this, and you see this, like I said, this research here, that basically I'm reading it, and it's basically talking about, hey, this might be protective for diabetics. It may lower cardiovascular disease because you won't become diabetic because of the fact that you are driving that what we're doing is we're driving the glucose into fat, but we're making you fatter. And it goes on to say, hey, there's some paradox with that. We can see that sometimes. There's certain challenges. For instance, people with rheumatoid arthritis, when they studied these people, they found out that people who were heavier had some protective benefits. And that's just getting crazy. It's getting crazy. It's how you look at research. And I talked about this the other day when we looked at how do you develop insulin resistance. And one of the first things that they showed was that you develop insulin resistance because of at the liver. It's inflammation at the liver. So you want to decrease inflammation, which, by the way, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And this was that research that I talked about the other day, which is hepatic protein tyrosine phosphatase receptors. And here we're back again.
It's only going to get better, folks. He's just that good. And, this time of year, a lot of folks dealing with a lot of stress, melancholy, depression, because it's just a whole lot of hustle and bustle, no time for themselves. But when you're dealing with health issues, it only makes it worse. And Dr. Ray, you can help with all of that too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about decreasing inflammation. It's all about getting your body functioning the way that it's supposed to function. One of the things, Rob, and I talked about it, we have I do a show every Thursday at noon on Facebook Live. I give the most common research of the day. And one of the ones that I talked about was this hepatic protein tyrosine phosphatase gamma receptor. It's linked to inflammation and insulin resistance. And what it is it's the hepatic cells, the liver cells are actually really actively involved with this. And that comes into play on so many different things. And the things that we look at, we see that there's a study that was just out. It says, improving metabolic health through precision dietetics in mice. And this was just amazing because what it's about is that they said everybody's a little bit different. At the bottom, if you're watching on Facebook, you can see it says that that it was all about this that a personalized or precision dietetics approach to dietary recommendations yield better health outcomes than traditional one-size-fits-all approaches. And it's interesting on this because one of the things that they talked about is it's that your DNA, they had different, what they do is they had different diets. And they gave, and they were mice, but what they do is they matched it to human diets. So they had an American diet, which was higher in fat and refined carbs, especially corn. They had a Mediterranean diet with wheat and red wine extract. They had a Japanese diet with rice and green tea extract. They had a ketogenic or an Atkins type of a diet that was very high fat and protein, like very few to little, almost no carbs. And then the fifth was the control group who ate their standard chow that they normally gave. What they found out was it depended on their genetics, how they did on the program. But interesting was when the protein, PTPR, protein tyrosine phosphatase receptor gamma, is increased, they showed that there was more inflammation and there was issues with that. And it was that along with what I talked about on Thursday. But the thing about this is that we're able to use NutriMost intelligence to determine precisely what we need to do with that. And so that's one of the things that we take a look and we say, okay, what are the common threads? What proteins would be best for you? So you heard Danielle talk about, she found out that there were certain proteins that she couldn't eat. There were certain vegetables that she couldn't eat. Other people could eat those. In fact, they were being encouraged more. So each person has a different list of what's their preferred foods, what's their preferred proteins, what's your cautionary proteins, which proteins should be limited, Which are the fruits that should be limited? Which are the vegetables that should be limited? What is your nutritional needs that should be supported? And what you're doing is you're giving the professional just more information. And by the way, all our offices are they're professional health care. They're healthcare professionals. And one of the reasons is so that if there's any adjustments that can be that need to be made, as well with that, when you have an understanding of how everything works, that's what makes this program so unique and so different. And we just want to help people. We want people to understand this information, because here we see things like the Alzheimer's. This was from the Journal of Alzheimer's Association, the body mass index and risk of dementia analysis of individual level data from 1.3 million individuals. And what they found out was that it increases tremendously as you increase your BMI. And so one of the things when we find out about that is for every 5 points, you have a significant jump in your Alzheimer's risk. And that's just another thing. And so all of this are things that we know that occur. Here we are. We want to help you. Our number is real simple, 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466. And today is the last day that you can get a discount. And by the way, we only do this. We've only done it twice in our entire history. We did it last year on Black Friday, and we did it this year. And we didn't even know if we would do it this year. We did it, and we had an incredible response. And I said, hey, let's do it again. Let's do it on Saturday while I do the program for those people. And that's just an extension of our Black Friday. So it's available to you. Anyone that's listening today can take advantage of that, but you'll have to call 855-688-7466. That's 855-NutriMost, or go online to NutriMost.com. We'll be able to help you out with that. And, you know, one of the things, Rob, when we see these things and we talk about the fact that what the program offers, and, you know, we come every week, but I want to go to I talked about the liver. And when we talk about the liver and just clearing the liver, is you want to have decreased inflammation on that. And one of the things that we use for that is our CurcumaMost. We have that. I want to just highlight that today as well. And it's great broad spectrum detoxification. It supports Alzheimer's and amyloid plaque removal. And that was research that was done on our curcumin or curcuminoid. In fact, there's something in what they studied the brains of people with Alzheimer's, and they found in India there's one particular thing that they call yellow brain. And it's because the turmeric, which curcumin comes from, is bright yellow, and it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it stains the brain yellow. When people eat like a ton of turmeric or anything with this curcumin, and in India that has been shown to be an issue with that. It's been able to help really just transform people with Alzheimer's. That they've never found a case with Alzheimer's with this type of a brain. And then there's also something we call brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it's stimulated with curcumin. So that's has been shown to increase that. It helps remove stressful and painful joints. It's great anti-inflammatory. You can use it instead of these non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and you don't have the risk of liver damage. In fact, it helps get your liver back on track. It's a powerful DNA repair and antioxidant protection. It promotes better digestion. It releases plasma fibrinogen in the blood. It gets your liver really back on track. And these curcuminoids are key phytonutrients, and turmeric have been shown to be capable of really transforming the cell. It's the rage for anti-aging. It's great to put it in with your hydromolecular. This is a phenomenal product. And again, we created it at NutriMost, and it's available at NutriMost offices. But give us a call, find out what we can do, and it's going to help that hepatocytes that we talked about. That's what it's geared for, to reduce the inflammation in the PTPR gamma receptors that allow you to stay insulin sensitive. Along with, the other thing it does that is our hydromolecular. So our whole program's designed to keep your body functioning the way that it's supposed to function, Rob. And that's what we want to show you. That's what Danielle had. That's what we saw with Ken Agard that did a just great testimonial, and we want that from you. But the thing is, you still got to pick up the phone. You're the one that has to take that action. Call 855-688-7466. That's 855-NutriMost. Anywhere in the country, we have 7 offices right here in Pittsburgh to help you out.
All right, the guys from True Value waiting in the wings. They're coming up next. Then we've got 2 hours with AAA East Central beginning at 11 o'clock today on KDKA. Good morning.
All righty. While we wait for them, I'm going to show you, and let me just make sure. Yep, I'm good here. I want to make sure that we weren't also still on, when we see the information that's out here, and I wanted to show, this is just a nice little simple recipe that you can do. Boy, by the way, I had some great pictures that I wanted to show of some of the stuff I ate out that wait till you see next week. It's going to be great. By the way, I just came back last night at it was after 1 a.m. Then I was, when you're traveling, you're sort of still wound up. So here I was a little bit wound up. Stayed up all night. Then I get up early, and I hadn't really looked at too much at this until I started. And I said, my staff, they'll put together some stuff for me. And one of the things that they put together was these mini sliders, just lean ground beef, McCormick's Grill Mates Steakhouse Onion Burger Seasoning, 8-ounce Baby Bella mushrooms, Bragg's liquid aminos, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, tablespoon of water, quarter teaspoon of thyme, salt and pepper to taste, a few drops of liquid stevia, some spicy brown mustard for taste. And all you do is just preheat your oven to 400 degrees, line your baking sheet with some parchment paper, remove the stems from the mushroom caps, place on the baking sheet, brush with liquid aminos on both sides, bake it for 10 minutes, flip it, bake again for 10 minutes, set aside. You mix up your hamburger seasoning into ground beef, form into 3 burger patties, cook the burger in either a skillet or bake in the oven until desired temperatures reach. You can use the George Foreman. Chop your mushroom stems and the remaining mushrooms finely. Heat the water and apple cider vinegar in a small saucepan over medium heat. Then add the mushrooms. Stir in your thyme, your stevia, your salt, your pepper. Cook, stirring occasionally for 23 minutes. Drain the mushroom relish. Place a teaspoon in 3 mushroom caps. Add some spicy brown on top of that, of the relish. Top with the burger in the second mushroom cap. Serve. Extra mushroom relish on the side. I'll tell you what, these are absolutely amazing. You love them. And we're glad to bring it to you. But you can remember, visit us at NutriMost.com, or you can see our reviews at www.NutriMostReviews.com. By the way, you go on there, and I recommend to take a look at some of those reviews. And you see people write some, these are true reviews. And the only people who can write a review are those who have gone through the program. That's the way that we make that. And the thing about our program, it's interesting because, it affects so many people's lives in so many really special ways. And you'll see people, it affects it from an emotional standpoint. It affects you from a confidence standpoint. It affects you from, when the body is balanced, you decrease inflammation. When the body is balanced, your hormones are balanced, because it's all about affecting your hormones and your neurotransmitters. In fact, that's what everything is. It's really hormones, neurotransmitters. That's what creates inflammation, is when you have those hormones you have certain hormones. When you hear about the effect on the eicosanoids, for instance, which you'll hear of like COX-2 inhibitors. But that also affects other things.
To NutriMost Weight Loss and Natural Health Solutions Uncensored, part of the KDKA Weekend Magazine, with your host, Dr. Ray.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Life will
All right, let's get back to Dr. Ray. One more segment, then we'll make room for CBS Radio News and the guys from True Value. But let me remind you the number that you can dial right now to get your appointment. Don't wait. It is 855-NutriMost, 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466. You know, Doc, a lot of people are saying the holidays are here. Why start now? My question is simply, why not start now? Best time of year to get willpower and the best way to start off the new year, right?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, I think it's the very, 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 very best time to start is right now. And the reason is, on average, almost everybody gains weight over the holidays. It's just a fact. Most everybody gains weight over the holidays. And on the program, it's easy when you're in this fat burning state. It really is like having an all-day smorgasbord on your body's own fat. You feel great. You have good energy. You have little to no hunger, and they've shown that in different research studies that when you are in a true fat burning state, that you have actually less hunger with that, and they call it that the effects of ketogenics when you're into that fat burning state, and so it's easy to bypass the cookies. It's easy, and particularly when you're rewarded with the fact that almost every day your weight's going down. You see results practically immediately from the time you start. You start on the program, you see the results. So, if you looked at other programs and they haven't helped, and when you're on these other programs, you can't wait to get off the programs. You're hungry, you don't feel well, you start dreaming of foods that you would like to eat sometime, and then all of a sudden that when you see something, then it's very easy to cheat. It's very easy to get off. It's just the opposite on this. Because if you have little to no hunger, if you're feeling great, if you're losing weight every day, if you're seeing the results every day, and everybody else is gaining, you're losing. Man, there is nothing like it. And if you want higher willpower, it's going to be a lot easier to have that when you're on the program than when you're not on the program. People will tell you, unlike other programs when you can't wait to get off of these other programs, with this, people they look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, they don't want to get off. I mean, they literally don't want to get off. We want you to experience that. Everyone who starts a program, people become so skeptical. You even hear Danielle. By the way, she told you that I called her. I actually did a phone consultation with her on a Sunday. We heard last week that Dr. Tafuri was on, and his patient said that they came in for her on a Sunday because it was the only day that she could do it. But I'll do phone consultations on Sundays, and we started her the next day. That's what she said. She goes, I don't even know how I really started this because it was just it was a whirlwind because she knew somebody else that did the program. And that's what's really nice. And I talked about that earlier, that one person, someone else sees them, they see the results, and then they refer somebody. And it just mushrooms that from one person, oftentimes there are hundreds and hundreds of people. And then it becomes part of this community. And she talked about that community. And that's part of they call themselves the NutriMosters. There's our Facebook. Go to NutriMost USA. We have like us on Facebook USA. It'll tell you when we're broadcasting live, which we do on Thursdays. We're going to be doing that even more frequently because there's so much information. Because you get to understand why we have different phases of our program. Why we have sometimes where and they're all designed for one thing. They're all designed to get you into leptin sensitivity, insulin sensitivity, and something called FGF21 sensitivity, or fibroblast growth factor 21. And when all those are sensitive, when we're bouncing the hormones, the neurotransmitters, it affects your inflammation. It affects your receptors so that you don't gain weight back. And that's one of the reasons why we give you the tools. We tell you the signs. We tell you what you look for, how you can tell in your body how it changes. One of the things people do our program, they'll notice that they'll dream better, that their food tastes better, that they like things now that they didn't like, things that they thought they could never give up. Like diet soda, for instance. People say, hey, I drink so much diet pop every day, there's no way I can get away from it. I say, you can on our program. And we'll show you how that is, but you have to be the one that takes the action. You have to be the one that makes that call. And all that is 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466. And remember, this week is just today is the very, very last day. It's our Black Friday special. It's extended through today, and you can get 25% off. You can go online to NutriMost.com. If you schedule today, that'll be accepted as well. And you can see what we're talking about when we talk about our NutriMost Intelligence, because NutriMost Intelligence is really the key to our program. NutriMost Intelligence is what allows us to really have these profound differences. And so what we're looking at is all the different factors that make up your body, but you need to be able to, find out what it is. What are the foods that are going to help? What are the foods that you need to avoid? And it's not what you think. It's like people tell me, yeah, everybody's to avoid. Everybody should be eating rabbit food. And I said, no, not necessarily. You may not even be able, for your body, maybe you shouldn't eat rabbit food. Maybe you shouldn't, as some people say, maybe you shouldn't eat your lettuces. And we talked about it today on there's the one study that came up that said it's really about, they showed with DNA that different people had, they put them on Mediterranean, Atkins, the Japanese diet, standard American diet, and they showed that different people responded differently. Like some people, they could eat almost any diet, it wouldn't matter. Other people responded to an Atkins type diet. Other people responded to a Mediterranean. Other people responded to the Japanese type diet. People say, so how do you know? Where Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. That sounds great, and that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Except, how do you know which foods? That's where we come in. We're professionally supervised offices. That's why it's healthcare professionals. That's why we use our NutriMost Intelligence. That's why it's been set up the way that we set it up. Everything has a reason, but our first thing is to get you leptin sensitive, to get you insulin sensitive, to get you FGF21 sensitive. Once that happens, it's easy. I mean, easy after that. And when we say it's easy, then you can see the weight goes down. And people who have had challenges because of health challenges, because of surgeries, because of different conditions that affect their hormones, that affect their neurotransmitters, when you get this balance, you can overcome it. When you get this right, even genetically, you can affect, it's called epigenetics, above your genetics. But you need to call 855-688-7466, 855-NutriMost, or visit us online at NutriMost.com. I'll tell you what, Rob, I always can't wait to come on here and just talk about this because of the fact that people don't know this information. And you see people like Danielle, who lost 66 pounds, and you see the dramatic difference. And it's one thing if you know somebody, if you've seen somebody, and you had the luxury of that doubting Thomas, I doubt it type of a thing. Yet when you see somebody and you know them, well, that's why we bring people like Danielle on, and they're just, it's amazing. Some of these people are just referring machines because they're walking, talking billboards for our program. But we want to help you. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give us a call.
All right, Doc, before we go, we have a couple of minutes left. What people need to understand, just because they've done a lot of other programs and failed, doesn't mean they're going to fail on this program, right?
That's the whole thing. You find out what's the reason. There's always a reason. You find out what's imbalance in their body. There's always an imbalance. And by the way, the other programs, what they do is they create more of an imbalance because they'll say, just listen to them. Like Atkins, only eat this. And it doesn't even matter, any fats. It doesn't matter for bad fats, good fats. They look at everything from a macronutrient basis. We look at everything from a molecular perspective, a cellular perspective, and a metabolic perspective. That's the hormones, the neurotransmitters. And so it's how it affects those hormones, how it affects those neurotransmitters, and what's in balance with you. And we can determine that with NutriMost Intelligence to give us a much, much better idea to have our starting point is at a higher state. And it's unlike anything else. And that's one of the reasons why. In fact, if you've had trouble with other programs, and you really need to do this program, that means that you have an imbalance. It was like last week when I talked about the gallbladder. If you had your gallbladder removed, you really need a product like NutriMost that clears the common bile duct, because you had to have a gallbladder problem because you had a gallbladder, the common bile duct was a problem. And it's the same way here. If you can't lose weight, that means you have an imbalance. You have hormones that are off. You have neurotransmitters that are off. That's where NutriMost Intelligence comes in. That's where we can make a bigger difference than anything else that's out there. There's nothing like NutriMost. That's why it's spreading across the country at such a rapid pace. Give us a call at 855-NutriMost. And I told you today, it's on sale only 2 times ever in the history since 2007 that NutriMost has been on sale. And it's on sale. Today's the last day for the 2nd time ever in history. So you can call 855-NutriMost or visit us online at NutriMost.com. And when you're on there, take a look at those NutriMost reviews and things like that. It's NutriMost, NutriMost.
Doc, always a pleasure. Have a great rest of the weekend, okay?
Thank you, Rob.
There you go.
Okay, we just left the KDKA broadcast. And one of the things, when I go through this, and I do want to say that, here's the thing. When you take a look and you see people that, you see these things that are, when people are out of balance, they have challenges. And just like the fact that when you have a higher BMI, you have a higher incidence of Alzheimer's. You have a higher incidence of dementia. You have a higher incidence of cardiovascular disease. You have a higher incidence of almost every challenge. And the reason why you do is because there's an imbalance in the body. So, it's interesting because people talk about the fact that, hey, that when your obesity causes sleep issues, obesity causes breathing issues, obesity causes the increase in diabetes, obesity causes all these other challenges. I am telling you that it's the imbalance in the body that causes those challenges. And we talked about it earlier today when we went through, and I'm looking at the research here, and here's the research just linking, we see it's linking type 2 diabetes with obesity, but it really links it again with the fact that you have inflammation in the liver cells. And when you understand that we have, like for instance, on our phase 2 where we don't eat breakfast. And people say, well, breakfast is the best meal of the day. Well, it sure is not particularly if you're eating a high carbohydrate breakfast. In fact, it's the worst meal if you're eating that. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to get back leptin sensitivity. We need to take control of the leptin receptors. We need to take control of the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus. And that hypothalamus controls your pituitary. And the pituitary is sending signals for both the adrenals and the thyroid. And so when people's thyroid are off, and they think that, hey, I have a thyroid issue, that's it. Thyroid is so robust. It can overcome. Just because it's not functioning right now, that doesn't mean it's not going to function right down the road. It can function right, but you have to do the things to make it function right. If you have inflammation, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, that means that something is wrong within the body. You have these various cytokines like your interleukin 1, interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is a very inflammatory cytokine that we can overcome. Again, there's so many things. Your gut microbiome that affects this. And by the way, we showed that even with the gut microbiome, even the bacteria that cause insulin resistance, the gut microbiome that they've been shown to be linked, and I say cause, it's been linked to insulin resistance, it's been linked to diabetes, that when you take down the inflammation in the liver, now that doesn't happen. Why? And I've said the liver is as much of your organ that really fuels your metabolism than anything. Everybody thinks it's the thyroid. It's really the liver. So we're going to talk about that probably next week. But just want people to realize we go through different stages of our program. We have it where you don't eat a breakfast, and we have, you eat a breakfast, but you eat mainly either a protein breakfast or you eat a protein and a healthy fat breakfast. When you do the Forever program, we have 3 different days. We have our, there's the R&R, there's the B&B, and there's the Indulge Day. And so we talk about this burn and balance. We talk about this rest and rejuvenation. talk about the indulge. And indulge doesn't really mean indulge the way you think it does, as far as like you can just eat anything and indulge yourself. It just means you can go off a little bit, because you can spike your inflammation slightly, because if you continue to stay always low, the body will sort of downregulate and meet that, and that becomes more of a normal. So what you do is you keep that, and then you spike it just a little bit, and that allows that to stay down at that area. But there's reasons why we have these different days, and the reasons are because it actually keeps your body into this leptin sensitivity, keeps your body into this FGF21 sensitivity, this leptin sensitive, insulin sensitive, FGF21 sensitive. Those are huge, and it's how it affects the peroxisomes, for instance, in the mitochondria, and which is PPARs. We'll go over that. You know, I don't like to get too into the weeds on this, but it's all about optimizing your cell. And to optimize your cell, you want to optimize the mitochondria. You want to optimize what produces the energy in the cell. You want to optimize your detoxification processes. You want to optimize the tissues and the organs, like the liver. And the liver is one of the biggest ones. You take a look, we focus the liver, focus the kidneys. And then you have the thyroid, and you have the adrenals. And by the way, if you're not getting sleep, if you're under heavy stress and you wipe out your adrenals, that moves that to a higher level. And so with NutriMost Intelligence, with our professionals, when we're looking at this, we're looking at what is your highest level? What are the things? And that's why it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's why some people respond differently with a Mediterranean diet versus a Japanese diet versus a ketogenic diet. Ours is different than all of those, because it's the personalized diet. It's saying what foods, from a molecular perspective, from a cellular perspective, from that metabolic perspective of how it affects your hormones, what are the foods, what are the supplements that are going to best match your body's needs and requirements. And that makes it easier for you. It's called working smarter and not harder. You know, when somebody keeps telling you something and you keep doing the same thing, and you're like, hey, I'm doing this, but it's just not working. You know, and you'll hear people say, you know, here's a statement that it's just appalling to me. Your problem is that you need to do some exercise. That exercise should be push yourself away from the table sooner. You're eating too much. And the person's like, I hardly eat anything, and I'm eating all the right foods, and I'm trying to. If your hormones are off, if your body's imbalanced, it's not your fault. And that's why I talk about, go back and see that, what I did. It's a Thursday program I did a few weeks back. And it's you need to watch that and get to see. And it talks about a calorie is not a calorie. It's not calories in, calories out. It's not eat less, exercise more. It's about balancing your body. Alrighty, I look forward to seeing each of you on our next broadcast. And remember, we are on, and you can watch us live every single Saturday at 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. We broadcast live. It's a simultaneous broadcast with KDK. The neat thing is that when KDK goes to a break, we continue through the commercial breaks. We're also on Thursdays at 12 noon, so you can watch us as we stream live on our NutriMost USA Facebook page. And thank you for joining us, and I look forward, tell your friends, share this, but today is our last day for the 25% off for all new clients. So if you know somebody, tell them you may have missed it before, but you have one last chance today.